Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to yet another First Impressions video for the third announced civilization in Civilization 6 Rise and Fall expansion. This one is going to be Mongolia, and I believe I might have hypothesized that they were going to be one of the ones based on the Rise and Fall cinematic.
Dreams of conquest of their own.
Okay, so this one's too obvious. Come on. We're going to get a Genghis Khan, right? Or some Khan or something like that. I think we've had Genghis Khan and was it what's the other one? Kublai? I don't remember who the other ones are. We've had multiple Khans in the past, so we've got to be getting another one with the horse archers and stuff. Come on. So yeah, let's get going with the video.
Genghis Khan leads Mongolia in Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. He united the Mongolian steppe and invaded Eurasia to create the largest contiguous empire in history. Although he conquered many people, he also tolerated their religions and cultures, and is credited for unifying the Silk Road. Mongolia's unique ability is called Ortu. Starting a trade route immediately creates a trading post in the destination city, which also increases your level of diplomatic visibility with its owner.
Okay, so we both get a trade depot in the destination city, which is going to increase the amount of resources and science and things like that you get right away. But also getting extra diplomatic visibility. Now, that doesn't sound like much necessarily. I mean, I personally haven't done much with the diplomatic visibility. It's a thing that exists. I occasionally click on it to see what's going on, but I don't really do much with it. However, I believe she's about to tell us something that the Mongolians will be able to use their diplomatic visibility for, which is pretty significant.
Mongolian units also gain combat strength against their opponents for each level of this visibility.
All right, so yeah, we can see here that they're getting +6 strength just purely based on the intel on opponents' movements. So that is pretty significant. I don't know if that's just +6 for each level, or if it's +6 based on however many levels they have currently. I don't know if we have a way to see the levels on the screen right here. I don't think so. So +6 for whatever it is, even if it's just +6 for 2 or 3 levels, that's still an improvement, an increase in a reason to send your guys out to get more diplomatic visibility on each of your opponents. That kind of really adds to that mechanic, and I really like seeing that. So that's pretty cool.
Mongolia's unique building is the Ordu, which replaces the stable. All cavalry class units trained in a city with this building receive extra movement.
Wow, extra movement. Getting +1 movement. I mean, already cavalry are ridiculously fast, and getting 1 more movement on top of that, that's going to make these guys just, I mean, you're going to be able to just, I don't know, what blitzkrieg, I guess is the right word, even though it's well before their time. The first blitzkriegs. You're gonna be able to do that quite a bit earlier in the game and really just steamroll your opponents across the map. Obviously, continental map is something that these guys are going to be very much in favor of because they want to be able to have all of that land that they can just swarm across with their hordes. Interesting note about this screen that I just paused on. What is this stuff down here on the southern edge? Is that what tobacco looks like? I don't know that I've seen tobacco look like that. I can't imagine that's tobacco. What is that? I don't know. Maybe it's a new resource, maybe not. Let's get things rolling again.
Their unique unit is the Kashuk. This ranged cavalry class unit is excellent at outranging enemy forces and allows any unit in formation with it to share its movement speed.
All right, so the Kashuk, that's a nice unit right there. 40 range strength, 2 attack range, obviously 6 movement on this thing. What? That's the type of unit that can get in there, throw a shot, and then run away again, most likely. If it works the same way as it did in Civilization 5, where they're able to attack and then move afterwards, which I assume they would be. That's kind of their strength. That's the whole point of Mongolia, I think, over the years. Any unit information with it shares its movement speed as well. That is pretty good. So that's going to be able to, you're going to be able to carry medics with you. You're going to be able to carry generals with you. You're going to be able to carry the military engineers, I guess. I'm not sure if there's a reason to do that. I'm sure there is. You'll be able to carry, I guess at some point, anti-aircraft, but I don't know that you would in this case. I guess if it applies, well, I guess you would never have these guys around with anti-aircraft units, so that's not going to matter that much. Yeah, mostly probably just the medics and stuff would be the biggest ones to be able to carry with you and have that boat boost with you. So that's pretty cool. I guess, no, I didn't think about it. I guess if you link a settler or a a builder with one of these guys, they'll be able to move very quickly as well. That's one way to take advantage of that as well, to continue to expand your reach, if you will.
Genghis's unique ability is Mongol Horde.
All right, Mongol Horde here. All cavalry class units gain +3 to combat strength and a chance to capture defeated enemy cavalry class units. What? So the Mongol Horde is the one we saw earlier in the screen with the +3. We saw that already. It's not like game breaking, but it's an increase. It's something. But the chance to capture defeated enemy cavalry class units. All right, Scythia, feel free to make your double cavalry all day long. That's just going to feed me with as many units as I could possibly handle. That's what that reads to me. Goodness, that is crazy. Let's see. Okay, and it does say right here for the Ortu, that's a lot of umlauts, that they do get +3 combat strength for each level. So the guy that we saw earlier that was +6, that's 2 levels of diplomatic visibility. And I think diplomatic visibility goes up to what, like 4 or 5 or something like that. Again, I have not touched the diplomatic visibility really at all in any of my games, at least not intentionally. And so I don't really remember how high it goes, but I mean, even be able to get it to 3 levels to get a +9, that's quite a bit actually. And that is all Mongolian units. That's not just these cavalry or anything like that. That's all of their units. Their cannons and their archers and their ships, I would assume. Yeah, all Mongolian units. Doesn't say anything about land units. So ships and anything like that is going to have this increased combat strength based on diplomatic visibility. Pretty big deal. Yeah, let's keep going. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to the game for a minute and see how the Kashuks compare to some of the other units that are currently in the game. I've pulled up a game as Scythia because I kind of figured that they are the most similar to the Mongolians in the way that they behave and the way that they kind of do combat and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump in here and let's do a search for Scythia. Scythia, here we go. So their unique unit is the Saka Horse Archer. It is got 4 movement strength, or movement range, I should say, which is a little bit less than the current Kashuks because they start with 5 and they can go up to 6 with the increase from the building that the Mongolians can have. So that's a huge difference there. The melee strength and range strength are obviously quite a bit different. So that leads me to believe that the Kashuks must come in a later era than the Saka archers, because Saka archers come across in the classical era. So that must mean that the Kashuks come in probably the medieval era. So, and they only have +1 range here on the Saka archers. But every time Scythia creates a Saka archer, they're going to get 2 of them. So, I mean, you know, hey, you add it up, right? That's 30 melee strength and 50 range strength. It doesn't quite work that way. But it's still going to be that the Scythia should be able to have an impact earlier in the game. But the Mongolians, when they come in, maybe an era later, they're going to be able to just, you know, destroy Scythia at that time. So unless Scythia can get a leg up on Mongolia, if they're going head to head during their strength, during the classical era, I think the Mongolians will ultimately have the edge, especially with their ability to steal the Scythian units. What other kind of units can we compare against? Let's go look at the research tree real quick and kind of see where we can figure out where they might come into play. So the Scythian unit comes in right here with horseback riding. With the 15 melee strength, range, 25 ranged. Over here you have the knights, which we did see a few of those floating around with the video with the Mongolians. So we know that they're there still. Melee strength 48. So I'm assuming it comes in here in the middle somewhere either late classical or early medieval. If we compare it with a crossbowman, it's actually completely identical to the crossbowman, except for the fact that it moves either at least, you know, 2 to 3 times as fast, depending on whether you have the building or not, which presumably you're going to have the building if you're going to do it at all. So 3 times as fast as a crossbowman, but otherwise very, very similar. So that means that crossbowmen are just so ridiculously strong in the game, and to have some that can move around that fast, I don't know, man. Mongolia in the medieval era around here in this time period, whenever they finally get those units, they're going to be ridiculously strong and really be able to just swarm over other units, other forces in a very, very quick manner, especially if they can, you know, weave in a few knights and stuff like that with their archers. Wow. It's going to be awesome to see. Other than that, I think that's everything we can look at for right now. We're going to go ahead and jump back over to the video.
All of your cavalry class units are stronger and have a chance to capture defeated cavalry class units to further bolster your army. Mongolia is a horse-powered war machine.
All right, let's pause it on this screen for just a moment, because this has nothing to do with Mongolia. This is some of the other features in Rise and Fall. Right here, we're seeing the world enters a medieval era. Okay, that's going back to that whole thing of the eras are more tied across the world as opposed to maybe to your science or your civics progress. We're also seeing down here in the bottom right-hand corner a big glowing globe. I'm assuming that as they've entered the medieval era, this is probably telling us that Mongolia has enough points or whatever the resource is to get a golden era. Now, I don't know if if it's telling us necessarily this is one of the super eras or whatever they call it, the hero eras or whatever it was. But at least it looks like it's a golden era. And so that means they're going to be able to get, I guess, some boosts and things like that. It's going to be pretty cool. I don't know about this gold border around it, or if that signifies the same thing. I'm trying to kind of piece out some of the nuances of the UI that they've added in. I'm not really seeing anything else jumping out at me. We do have up here in the top right corner a little like a sun and a moon or something like that. I think that's probably deals with the eras as well. Maybe some sort of way to track who's in what era or where you're at and how many points you've got, things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and keep going. That's interesting. I think I like some of these UI changes.
So be sure to aim for horseback riding and stirrups technologies, as well as a source of horses, as soon as possible. Remember to establish trade routes with your neighbors. It will help fund your troops and give you an advantage when taking enemy cities with a trading post. Can you forge an empire to trample your enemies? How will you lead Mongolia in Sid Meier's Civilization 6: Rise and Fall?
Wow, Mongolia. He is going to be ridiculously strong as long as he starts on a continental map where he has all of his opponents out there just on land ready to go out and conquer. If he starts on any type of island map or anything like that, a little harder. I mean, I'm sure he can still get his troops across the water and then do something. It's not like it's impossible, but definitely stronger towards the continental side. And if you don't have horses, there goes your entire game plan as Mongolia. So it's very critical for you to get horses. Now, presumably you could still trade for them and that's okay, but that seems like just a cheap way to fund your horde of archers and things like that with traded in horses. You're really going to want your own horses, I think, just to be able to have better control of that. But yeah, all of their abilities just about apply to just strong, conquering military domination of the works, which, I mean, it makes sense. It's Mongolia. He's a horde. He's going to go out and conquer things. So definitely domination victory is very much 9 times out of 10 going to be the victory you're going to be going for with Mongolia. That doesn't mean you couldn't settle back for like a science victory after you beat up everybody else a little bit or got some of their, buildings and wonders and things like that. You could probably maybe settle in for a culture victory if you capture the right wonders and stuff like that. But that just seems kind of silly if you ask me. So I really think it's really all about domination with Mongolia, which is kind of how he's been in every single iteration of Mongolia in the past civilization. So really going to be an incredibly strong civilization. Really going to give Scythia a run for her money as far as who's the most dominant during that period of time. If you're an opponent of both Scythia and Mongolia at the same time, you better hope they're fighting each other, because if they're not, you're in trouble. So, yep, I like it. I'm looking forward to Mongolia as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please feel free to give me a like. If you don't, I understand. Let's go ahead and, open up some comments and see what you guys think. I do appreciate it. Thank you and goodbye.